Cancerians are primarily known for being very emotional. They have a lot of emotions and are deeply attached to their home. They are often seen as humanitarians. The reason for that is that in the natural zodiac, Cancer represents the fourth house, which is associated with home and emotions. Now, when the fourth house moves to the ascendant, emotions and attachment to the home naturally come into play. Additionally, if you look at the third and the 12th houses, they are ruled by Mercury, which governs intellect. But since Mercury rules two malefic houses, it doesn't allow logic to play a strong role in their decision making. Instead, emotions dominate their logical thinking capability. Cancerians are naturally good looking and most of them tend to look attractive. Cancerians are emotionally sensitive and moody because Cancer is ruled by the moon, and the moon, its shape changes every day. So the Cancerian mood also swings up and down very easily. On the negative side, they can also struggle with depression and addiction. Cancerians can fall into addictions such as drugs and alcohol. In a previous video, we saw that Cancerians can often become celebrities and public figures, and we will explore the reason for that as well. Typical characteristic of a Cancer ascendant horoscope is that Mars, who is the lord of the fifth house, is debilitated when it comes to the ascendant. Additionally, Moon, who is the ascendant lord itself, is debilitated in the fifth house. This creates a reciprocal debilitation where the first lord and the fifth lord are debilitated in each other's houses. Since the fifth house represents intelligence, this is one of the reasons why the intelligence is often clouded by emotions. Since Mars is a friend of the ascendant lord, intelligence is present, but the emotions prevent them from fully utilizing it. However, they do have a strong appreciation for intelligence, theories, scientific matters, and technology, but they themselves may not actively engage in building or working the technologies. They are emotionally attached to the fields. Additionally, since the fifth house also signifies children, Cancerians may often find themselves very attracted to children even if they don't have their own. There is also a chance that they may have few children or experience difficulties that lead to being distanced, distanced from them. Mars, being the lord of the 10th house and debilitated in the ascendant, also indicates that they might experience significant changes in their career, with ups and downs being a common occurrence. The moon, which is the ascendant lord, becomes exalted when it moves to the 11th house. What does this mean for public relations, common people, friends, and connections? If you look at Cancerians, their friends and networks, they have very, very deep connections with them. They maintain friendships from childhood and connect with these friends later in life, just as they did in the youth. They form deep connections and find it hard to let go of their bonds with friends. Their emotions run very deep, and they also connect well with the public. Because of this, Cancerians often grow up and become prominent public figures, establishing strong connections with public, and they can work successfully in these areas. Similarly, Jupiter, which is the lord of the sixth and the ninth house, becomes exalted in the ascendant. This exaltation of Jupiter gives them an interest in religion. Since the sixth house represents obstacles, they are often drawn to religion, but they face challenges which may cause them to be distracted. This pattern of being attracted and then distracted from religion continues, this fluctuation also affects the luck. Sometimes the luck is very good and sometimes it's not. Additionally, because the Lord of the sixth house is seated in the ascendant, they may experience health issues. There is a chance they could face serious health problems at times. If we look at the Saturn, it rules the seventh and the eighth houses. The seventh house represents marriage, while the eighth house is associated with secrecy and deep secrets, things that are hidden. Generally, this means that the marriages tend to be quite secretive. They keep their relationships private and don't make them very public, so people might not even know much about their marriages. Additionally, there could be obstacles in the marriages, which is because the eighth house represents difficulties and obstacles. There might be challenges in marriage, or there could be a significant age gap because Saturn, the ruler of seventh house, represents aging and maturity. Sometimes this results in a noticeable age difference with the spouse, or the spouse might appear much older. Even if there isn't an actual gap, the spouse might look more mature or senior, creating an impression of a gap. For example, let's look at Angelina Jolie. She is known for being beautiful and is an American actress, filmmaker, and humanitarian. She has often been considered as one of the most beautiful women in the world. However, she has also struggled with depression. Her childhood was quite difficult and depressing. She engaged in self harm, had cuts in her body, and was often in a depressive state. She suffered from insomnia and used drugs heavily. At one point, she even attempted to hire a hitman to kill her. If you look at her astrological chart, during those difficult years, she was going through periods ruled by Mercury and Ketu, which were very challenging until she was around 25 to 26 years old. After that, her career began to grow and her Venus period started, but we won't focus on that now. We are just looking at the cancer traits. When it comes to children, she had six children, three of whom were adopted internationally, and three were her biological children. This illustrates a connection between the fifth house, which represents children and creativity. Often, people with these traits may have favored children of their own but adopt from outside. The next personality is Al Gore, an American politician who served as the Vice President of the US under Bill Clinton from 1993 to 2001. He also ran for the presidency but lost to George Bush. After that, he shifted his focus to environmental issues, climate change, and carbon emissions. Al Gore's early schooling revealed that he was in love with scientific and mathematical theories, but he himself did not perform well in these subjects. He mentioned that he didn't take science and math classes, but he was more inclined towards arts. However, his interests remained, so when he campaigned for the climate change, he relied heavily on the support from scientific journals, certified scientists, and technical experts. He popularized the concept of climate change with their support, making it a public appeal with a humanitarian aspect. Although he was interested in technology, he didn't directly engage with it, but used the support of others to popularize it. For instance, when the internet was emerging, he recognized its potential and supported its development and widespread adoption. During his time, the internet saw significant growth even though he didn't invent it himself. These are the traits often seen in Cancer personalities. As for his personal life, his fifth house was prominent, indicating his attachment to his children. One of his children possibly his third son, had a severe accident when Al Gore was supposed to run for the presidency. He decided to back out, stating that his family was more important than anything else. Al Gore chose not to pursue his presidency despite being a popular candidate who had won the popular vote in the first race. A legal case ensued and the court decision did not favor him. He came very close to becoming the president of US, but when his son had an accident, his attraction to family overweighed everything else. The straight shows for him, family was more important than even becoming the most powerful man in the world.